This is some seriously bullish news. Troy says that the end of the quarter delivery push in Europe is stronger than he expected. He expected new records in China and in the US, but not in Europe. But now that seems like it is going to change. And when Troy says it, you know that is based on hard data. Earlier today, Troy posted this asking for help to find data that is more recent where he could see sales for March before March is over, and maybe he found a few ways to actually get that data. Let's take a look at all the numbers that we already have. First, let's start with China and then we'll come back to Europe. In China, we have numbers from BYD now, specifically battery electric vehicles only, and we can compare how these are on a chart next to Tesla's numbers. BYD is right here. Keep in mind, BYD also sells a lot of cheap vehicles. We only have data for these for the last 6 weeks, says Roland. Looking at the numbers here, there is a pattern. BYD's numbers are decreasing as Tesla's are increasing quite a bit. Now, they are not decreasing as much as by how much Tesla's numbers are increasing, but still, there does seem to be a pattern here. Keep in mind, these numbers are specifically for deliveries within China. And if we were to compare BYD Seal sales, which is a direct competitor to Model 3 in terms of pricing and features and range and speed, we can see that the sales have dropped off the cliff. This is a more direct comparison. And when we have the data for all of March, it will be more clear if this situation for BYD is really getting even worse once we have the sales data for the Seal. And this is quite something. Although this is a rumor, and I do want to warn you again, this is just a rumor. I'm not able to find sources to confirm this, but it all starts with rumors first. We have a tweet here saying, rumors suggest that Giga Shanghai plans to increase production capacity to 1.2 million vehicles per year in Q2, and pay attention to this, while adding 40 gigawatt hours per year of production capacity for energy storage. If true, both of these are actually quite good. According to Troy, Tesla produced 88,500 vehicles in November in China, in Giga Shanghai. So if we annualize that, Tesla can already produce almost 1.1 million vehicles, so that would be a nice boost to all of that. But more importantly, this would send a strong signal that demand is strong. The energy storage plant would also be very important. It would be as big as the one in Lathrop. Just so you understand how big of a deal that is, if you, for example, take Lathrop, which is supposedly able to produce 10,000 megapacks per year, or eventually it will be able to do that. And if we assume that 1 megapack is $2 million, if we round the numbers up a lot, we get $20 billion in revenue. If we divide that by $50,000, let's assume that that's the average selling price for Tesla, we get an equivalent of like 400,000 deliveries just from energy storage alone. And remember, Lathrop is starting to ramp just now, and Tesla would be adding another one in China, assuming that this rumor is true. Which it may not, so don't get your hopes up, but just letting you know, this might be possible. Coming back to Europe, we have more bullish data. As you can see, the sales in Norway, which I know it's a small country, but it reports sales daily. And often when you look at daily reporting countries, that turns out to correlate with bigger countries as well. This data suggests that European deliveries are perhaps going to be very strong, certainly at least in Norway. And it looks like we are certainly going to beat the last quarter, at least in Norway. If we can do that in all of Europe, I think we will definitely beat the consensus delivery estimate of 420,000. Gary Black says, I highly doubt Tesla management would be so adamant on both the Q4 earnings call that we had in January, at the end of January, and Investor Day, that demand has been strong if Q1 volumes weren't good. Deliveries in the fourth quarter were 405,000, so I expect this quarter to be at least 5% above that, 425,000 versus 420,000 consensus. Otherwise, management loses a ton of credibility. I think under 420 Yeah, that would be quite a disappointment if you look at all of these numbers daily. The consensus, I don't think they are all up to date. I mean, I was talking about these higher numbers about 4 days ago, and also the numbers from China came out really nice. But here I was specifically talking about European numbers, and only today Troy is conceding to the idea that indeed the European numbers are looking better than previously expected. But there's not much waiting left. We will soon know all of the numbers. Marcus Brownlee, who has a huge tech channel on YouTube, said this about Tesla's newest wireless charger.
Overlapping coils and really clever software to give you the ability to place your device anywhere on the mat and it'll direct your charge. It's pretty sick. It works well, and you can actually drop up to 3 things on here, up to 15 watts each. Just no Apple Watch, since that's not Qi charging. But actually just as impressive as the tech is the build quality. This is actually the best built wireless charger I've ever used. So it has this angular aluminum design, kind of like a Cybertruck, and then this Alcantara surface like the headliner in the cars. Even the brick and the flat cable built in look kind of cybery. And then there's this metal stand with magnets that lets you prop it up at different angles, and it is rock solid.
That was nice to hear. Ford will now begin reporting its financial results by business unit instead of by region, and will release revised results that will show how the new business units would have performed in 2021 and 2022. This is pretty big because Ford is about to break out big EV losses for the first time. Ford will report its first quarter results under the new format on May 2nd and will host a Capital Markets Day on May 22nd. Deutsche Bank analyst believes Ford could be incurring gross losses of about $9,000 per EV sold. The analyst expects Ford to reveal Thursday Model E operating loss of $6 billion for 2022. That's after accounting for significant research and development investments, roughly 65% of the company's total R&D into the EV unit. And recently, Ford cut prices to keep up with Tesla. Ford expects to achieve 8% EV margin by 2026. Also, I saw this story going around yesterday, but because it is not actually news, I didn't even mention it, but now Gary Black also tweeted about this. So now I have to say something so that this stops spreading. This is actually nothing new. It is happening, but it was published yesterday. It says Tesla reveals Megapack project that killed a peaker plant, and there's a video here as well, which, you would think it's published yesterday. And while Tesla did publish this video yesterday, that video is more than 1 year old. I certainly appreciate the enthusiasm for Megapacks, and I do agree with Gary that generally Megapacks are underappreciated by the investment community at Wall Street. This is actually quite an interesting development. So Jim Farley posted this video, and we know that they announced the all-electric Explorer, but only in Europe. Alex replied to this post, and then the CEO of Ford actually responded to this. Jim, considering the inferior technology Ford employs, I have my doubts that the company will have a market share that justifies its current organization in Europe. In the past successful ICE Explorer won't be a successful BEV Explorer just because it has the same name. Customers are not stupid. Like the German automakers, I expect Ford to continue to shrink and this process to accelerate. Harsh words, but the CEO of Ford says, milkshake bet? Alex fires back though with, as CEO of Ford, you should not bet on the future, but know what you are doing. Ooh. More exciting news, Elon Musk is now within 1 million followers from taking over the lead as the world's most followed person on Twitter. Currently, Barack Obama is leading with 133 million. Elon is going to take over him very soon. And look at how desperate Tesla shorts are. I'm going to start closing Tesla stock puts. You don't short fraud, especially by world's richest man, as it can go indefinitely and no regulator in this corrupt cesspit will stop it. They'll make up whatever numbers they have to, and every analyst and pumper will pretend to believe it. They are now resorting to just fraud. They don't have any good data to back up their assumptions. They just say this is flat out fraud. This is what it has come down to now. And this is pretty cool. Tesla promises to double the number of trees at Gigafactory in Mexico after deforestation. Pretty nice. And this is the Tesla stock buying opportunity explained by Elon Musk. My name is Matt Posius. Like and subscribe if you haven't yet, and I will see you in the next video. Thank you so much for watching.